Hey everyone, welcome back. Ben Barber here to talk about a listing, more specifically a listing that you're having a challenge selling in today's market. So what we're going to do is we have a team listing here that's been on the market for a little over 30 days. We've made some price improvements. We've had good showings, good feedback from agents, but for whatever reason, we're just not getting offers. We're not getting this steady bite. So we are going to completely brainstorm on this. We really don't have a strategy on how we're going to film this video. We're just going to go through and we're just going to learn more about the property. We're going to look at what the market's doing in that area specifically, and then we're just going to talk through it to figure out the best strategy for the agent and for the seller. We're at 522 list.
Yep.
And when was the last time you did the reduction?
I think it's last week, about a week ago.
Reduced 7 days ago?
Yeah.
Which did get 2 showings, right?
Yep. Original price was $524,750.
Oh, sorry. Entry date August. That's I don't know why it says that, but that's when when it goes active.
We strategically made the price reductions we did so that the seller wouldn't lose really much on the net, but we trigger for fresh on the basically the hot sheets that were set up. 2 showings since the reduction. Good feedback, but nobody's moving forward.
Do we have a tracking of the showings, like the frequency, or? Because I know in his open house, which was like 2 weeks in, he got a lot of activity, right? You had like 7 or 8 groups there, right?
7 or 8 groups on the open house.
Mm-hmm.
Have we done open house since then?
Yeah, but it was on Labor Day.
Yeah, it was Labor Day weekend, which was dead everywhere. So
I
that
only
doesn't
got
count.
one person.
Yeah.
So first open house, 7 to 8. Were they represented, unrepresented?
Half and half.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think I had like only 2 of them that were not.
Like yeah.
Have you followed up on the showings to give feedback?
What do you mean?
With the agents.
So like with anybody that came with an agent, that's the whole reason we want to capture their information, is to follow up and just say, what'd you think of the house? Are the things, what'd you think of the price? How did it show? Are things we could have done differently? So that's like all these feedbacks, that's what we want to know. We want to know how the market's reacting to it.
Not from the open house. I haven't reached out, but I've talked to the agents that like actually left.
Oh, you have?
Remarks and stuff.
Awesome.
Okay.
What have you asked them? Like what's? I mean, I know you said generally
actually
too. Was there any
just texting
specific?
I was actually texting one today. He said that the house met like his clients, all their like needs and wants, what they're wanting. It's in a good area, price. It met all like their criterias, but for some reason he said when they went in, it just didn't really wow. So they didn't want to. They're just kind of hesitant about it.
That's fine. Okay, so if we're just going to make this little action plan. So one of the action plan is anybody that you still have contact for the open house, even though it was a while ago, I'd still reach out.
Okay.
Okay? Because if anything, we're going to follow up, we're going to get information from them, but then we can also, if we're prepping for a price reduction or if we take a different strategy, like let's say we go to a higher BAC, then if we're talking to the agents, we want to say, hey, and just so you know, we're increasing the BAC.
So how do I get in contact with the agents? Because they left their personal number. I didn't have any agents. It was just all-
dude, even better. If somebody leaves their personal information, they say, yes, I have an agent, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with reaching out to them and saying, hey, what's your agent's information?
Yeah.
Half the time they're bullshitting you and they don't have an agent, and the other half they're not working with them for whatever reason. Like,
don't ask the client directly.
No. I'm saying do.
Ask the client. If that's all they
Yes.
give you, call and ask them for the agent's
Because if
information.
you so think of it.
That's what I was asking. So
Think of it as an attorney.
ask
If
just
you
for their agent's number,
Yes.
not
Yes.
ask the client about like what they thought
Yes.
about the house.
Yeah, because you won't be able to talk
so this is
to
how
them
you
about
say
it.
it. You say.
I guess it's true. I can't.
Right, but because you don't have their agent's information, it's 100% okay for you to contact them and ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
So you just say, hey, I don't know if you remember me, I met you at an open house a couple of weeks ago in that cute house in West Layton. Yeah, so I actually wanted to follow up with your agent. I had a couple of questions for him about a listing I have coming up. Can I get their contact information? And then they'll spill the beans. Like, and they'll, well, I mean, we talked to a guy who knew a guy, whatever.
Yeah.
But at least they know the information. And worst case, it's the wrong number, whatever, or you'll get the agent's number and you get feedback. But otherwise, you might get a client.
I love that. So for action plan, we need to follow up with them. But then also what I see is if we've had 2 showings since the reduction, but when you first went out, you had 7 to 8 people come through the open house, you need another open house.
Well, so was the open house on what weekend? Wasn't it like about 10 days after it was listed, or was it right after it was listed? Do you remember?
It was a little after being listed. It was like a week after.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, oh, that's even
So it
better.
wasn't
So I would say
immediately.
open house every weekend, or, and Kim's done this with a lot of success, scattered with a
100%.
weekday open house.
Yep.
Like a 5 to 8 on a Wednesday, something like that.
Okay.
Okay? And then what we have to do is we have to increase the number of people that are giving information, where it may be something like enter to win an Amazon gift card or something like that, where they're giving us the information which enters them into a drawing. So we have to make sure during the open house that we're I'm just going to put this here. I'm just going to put mega open house, and we'll walk through that whole process, just to make sure that we've got the signs in the right place. We've got the sign up. We've done.
Like
you and I walked
be,
through that whole.
And I was telling
video.
Ben, and this was 0% on you because we haven't even got the like few of the things rebranded or whatever. But like it should be obnoxious. Like everyone in your neighbors be like, who the fuck is having an open house down there? You know what I mean? Like it's like signs everywhere, balloon, like all the things. It should be
obnoxious.
But here's the thing though is because we've done it like all the ways, doing it like setting it up obnoxious or whatever without the prep and the advertising and the build up, it just. And there's still sometimes you do everything right and nobody comes, right? But that's if you do it right and you like the mega open house schedule that he'll teach you, then it's typically outside of Labor Day weekend.
Yeah,
pretty.
And we had whiteboarded that. I'll take a picture of it. I had a picture of it, and we'll write it up and we'll go through again.
Okay.
But then I think, so I'm just going to kind of jump all over and just let me know if we need to reel back in. What's the seller's goal? What are they doing once they sell?
Goal and time frame. They're building, right?
They're building. I think they're expected to be done sometime in later December, January.
Okay, so they're building December-ish, or January it'll be done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So because we have time then. Not a ton of time, but we have time. And do we know what they owe or what their minimum net is that they need to get out of this?
He said he wants to at least get it for 500 and then whatever, like
he wants to walk with 5 minus commissions, not net, but 5 minus commissions.
Right.
5, then take out the commissions?
No. Like 520 whatever to the thing.
So 500 after commissions?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah.
So he wants to net 5.
And this is where, so how much information did you get from him about like anything like that? How much he owed, his
I did get a lot of
mortgage
that information.
payment?
I
Okay.
have it through text.
Okay.
So they're building there. The net is 5, which is why we don't have a ton of room to move.
Well, but here's the thing though. And this is, you've learned this. Like when you tell somebody 3 or 4 or 5 times you have to have your security deposit on day 4, and then their mind is blown when you know what I mean, that happens. It's one of those things where, not that I don't trust the buyer, but like the buyer doesn't see well, buyer or seller really, because it really is just a lack of information. Because do you remember how much he owes on it? Or his new
rough number, I think he's at like 170 or something like that.
Because if he already this is what I would typically do because if he already has his loan rate locked in, the new one, and it's a new. There's so many ways to go. I don't know. I guess I don't have enough information.
So what I'm looking at on this is that one of the main things we tell sellers is until you actually sign a contract, you're not obligated to anything. So that's the first part of it. The second part is any house will sell for any amount between 0 and whatever, $1 million.
That's right. Yeah.
If you bring them, so like my personal strategy would be to get them on board saying, I'm going to keep reducing until I get an offer, and I'm going to do all these activities, and then I'm going to bring you a net sheet before you sign anything. So if it gets all the way down to where, let's say you don't go into contract until $495, and then we look at, here's your net. Do I have to adjust my commission? Do you want to take this deal? Because once it's in writing and it's in hand, he's like, maybe I should just take this. And if he doesn't sign anything, you cancel the listing. There's no loss to you. So that'd be my first strategy, is that we will chase it down, but we're gonna have to start making bigger reductions.
Another thing that I would like to throw in is it's not just a matter at this point of strategizing, getting to the right point, getting people, like it's not just a matter of that anymore. Now it's a matter of like justifying yourself to the sellers, especially now when everything's been like hot potato.
Yeah.
And like people that aren't.
Okay, you're right, and we have to just, so with what Kim's saying.
So you should look at the MLS, see, hey, this is what's happening, here's what's sitting, like you have to show him.
We'll justify it, we'll put together this entire plan, we'll roll it out to him, and then we'll show it through action.
But not even like the plan. I think you still should do the plan, but I'm saying like, I think because, and I don't know your uncle well, but I'm just saying like the average person is, they think something's wrong with their agent because as far as they can tell, everything's selling. Well, that just barely happened with. I mean, I'm just saying, but to sit down with them and like weekly or have a Zoom call, like an actual something, and be like, hey, just so you know, there was 6 more properties listed that are similar to yours within a half a mile. Competition is fiercer.
Yep.
6 months ago, houses were 4.5 days on market. Now they're 30 set. Like you have to show them.
So let's look at that. Let's look at getting a template done for the weekly showing. So we'll say, here's how many showings we've had, here's new listings that are competing, here's competing listings that have gone under contract.
Recently sold.
Here's the current days on market in this area, here's the average price per square foot in this area.
And that's where I would like to partner with a lender or whatever, because I like to also say like interest rate increased 1.2% in the last 7, like something, because I feel like everybody is like, okay, so there's more houses, they're sitting longer, they're cheaper, what the fuck, like, but there's, you know what I mean? So anything we can get, but I think just that alone, a snapshot of more houses, more time, it's not just you, it's all of us.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So let's build that template out. I think we need to do a new valuation to make sure that we're good there. And that would be in the template. Like, we really want to look at the price per square foot. We want to look at days on market and number of active and under contract.
Because here's the thing, what I would tell him without, because it gets, there's a lot of things you can do. Like, we had one seller that wanted the house, because they had like 45 kids. They wanted the house empty and gutted before they sold it or whatever. So they did like a bridge loan and moved it, you know, whatever. But without doing any of that stuff, just, and this is, everything's risky always, but I would maybe talk to their builder, because, you know, builders don't mean what the words they say. Because if it really is going to be like more like January, February, March, or hopefully March, whatever it is, if it was me, I would almost pull the house down, do a bridge loan, move out, and do, because the thing with the house is, like, there's a few things, just because the layout's unique, but it feels a little bit like Brady Bunch, like older, you know what I mean? If they did, when you walk in on that rail, did like a metal railing right there, and then like a ring door, like a few bling factors, it would make it more contemporary. That wouldn't be expensive, like gutting the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that, so that's when people start buying a lot again, is February. And that's the thing where it's like, who knows, interest rates will be or whatever, but.
I like that. I would say we do that as kind of more of a last
Resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough to ask them to, yeah. I get what you're saying. I agree with that.
Well, no, because my thought was, depending on, well, A, their hurry, and B, what they wanted. Like, if there's like, dude, we just want to like do our crap through Christmas and have a good Christmas and pack and move out. Like, because for Shay, it was a godsend. She's like, I don't want to have to worry about moving twice in a day. And I mean, I don't know what, that's what I'm saying. I revert to Caleb, because I don't know what his needs are or whatever, but it's an option.
What's the current BAC?
2.5.
Okay. So I think I saw this really interesting stat the other day that said so far this year, 81% of agents have sold less than 4 homes. So the majority of your agents out there are only selling a handful of homes. We're not, like, ethically or whatever, we're not supposed to steer anybody towards a house, but it does come into play when somebody's looking at it. And a lot of newer agents don't know that you can negotiate a commission. So when they see 2.5 and they haven't sold houses for a while, they're going to steer them towards a 3-1. So like my personal thing, my strategy would be taking the BAC at a minimum to 3% and potentially 3.5%. So that when you're on the phone with these guys, you're saying, hey, we're increasing the BAC, right? Something like that. Or go to 3% and in the MLS and when you talk to people, do a rate buy down.
Wait, can I?
They actually brought that up too.
Who? Oh, the sellers?
Yeah, sellers.
Good. Yeah.
My only concern with doing all like that stuff is because, so I need to have like a real conversation with them about the listing price, because he's wanting it to 500 after all doing all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, so I guess there's one way you could look at this, and it's kind of a painful one. It's tough because you don't have a lot under contract right now, and we know that same feeling where you do want to hold on to everything. But at some point, if the seller's goals are unrealistic, then your conversation with him is, look, if you really want to net this 500, then you're going to stay at 520 until it sells. We're not going to do price reductions. I'll do open houses.
Have a backup plan for if your build is done first, as far as funding, whatever.
We're going to go 90 days.
But this is where I feel like, and me and Ben we've done really well at it, but not organized. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to make it more organized. But that's those times when I would call and have them come to Jesus or go over there, whatever. And I feel like by showing them, like, what is it, the social proof or whatever, like the listings that are there longer, like, that's where, because there's very, very, very few people that have to walk with what they say they have. I mean, really, especially when there's 333 grand. Like, I get it, it's ideal, like, ideally you sold it for $1 billion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I feel like it's a very hard conversation when you haven't talked to them for a week or whatever, which is what most agents do, or 2 weeks. Be like, hey, nothing's moving, whatever. You're gonna drop this price. Like, what have you done? What have you? But to actually like stop by or send something or whatever, and say like, hey, just so you know, like listings have quadrupled and.
Yeah, I think you have to do this weekly one, and then also when we do these, I think you have to go the open house strategy every weekend, do some on weekdays.
Yeah.
And then we've got to give them
feel.
feedback from those open houses.
Yeah.
We had 8 people come through. Here was the information, and then when you follow up, hey, followed up on all those open houses from last week. Here's the responses I got. So it's keeping them updated. So let me just say one thing, and then I want to do. We have to do this competition analysis to see if we are missing something, because really what we could be looking at is the average days on market in Utah right now is 32 days. We're not off on that. Like, we're there. So like Kim said, it's a panic because people are used to things going so quickly. But for me personally, what I would do is, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your thought. Do you have a thought?
I'll remember it.
When I'm looking at this, I'm saying that if we only have this 20,000 to work with, like let's say they are stuck on this goal, in a typical scenario, it would be like you wouldn't want to dump a ton of money into advertising if we're not going to get to that net. Like, you wouldn't want to go stage the property and spend $1,500, do all that stuff, because you may never get it back. But what I would look at it is, and we haven't even talked about the rent-to-own options yet with Trio or with Home Partners, but I'm looking at it saying, if you're only, so what's the total commission, 4.5%?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're at a 4.5% commission, then our goal is to double in this. Like, we want dual agency because we can play with that then.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you walk away with only a 1% commission, you have a sale, you made your money back, and if we leverage this correctly, it leads to more opportunities. You can go promote that listing, you can go do circle prospecting, saying just sold, you can go do all that stuff. So even where you're on such a tight net, and that's where it's good to look at what they're trying to do, because they've got a ton of room here that we don't know their goals and stuff, but we've got to dig down and really figure out what that is.
But Ben is always right. I have had the most stubborn assholes that I swore would not move a penny. When they have an offer in their hand in writing, it is a different world.
It's different.
Everything's theoretical until they've been sitting there for 3 months without anything, and they have to leave their house. You don't know what this is like. Leave their house 6 or 7 times a week randomly with their dogs and weird schedules. He did that.
Yeah.
No, really. But then when you get something like, it's not ideal, but like fucking we're done. Like.
Yeah, and you have to look
amazing.
at, like I had, like I'm getting ready to sell my car, and CarMax gave like an estimate of like $49,000 for it, right? Too low. I don't want to take it. But the fact that it was in writing, I now know I'm going to go try to sell it myself, and if it doesn't work, I've got this option here. That's all we want to do there. But we can, the goal is to get our own people in there.
Well, and here's the thing. So, because I know this is all good. Well, so first the thing I was going to say is, when you ask for feedback, it is all, I think you should do it a certain way. I think you should text your agent and say, hey, I know you've shown a ton of houses, whatever. This is my listing. Will you please give me a call or shoot me a text at your convenience and let me know? And then send them the freaking link or a couple pictures, because they have no idea. They're not going to look it up.
In that room, okay?
Oh, you have to look that? Let's do it back here.
Okay, so I'm going to put Kim's follow-up script or plan there.
I think sending them the picture of or something of the property. You know that's happened to you 100 times.
No, you need to
send
send the pictures,
Yeah.
I agree. But what I look at it is that if these guys really do have agents, and you've got these 2 showings here, it's, hey, we're looking at increasing the BAC, or we're looking at doing a rate buy down if that would get you guys interested. And then we've got to make sure we're keeping track of these. Everybody that's seen the property, they need updates every time you make a move to it. Hey, we just reduced that price. Hey, we just increased, we're offering this special thing. Okay, so we're going to go through, we'll do this comp analysis that will include what the market's doing in the area, a revaluation of the property.
And you should maybe brainstorm after that, depending on what you find.
Yeah, and we should.
Yeah.
But then we have to look at what is going on with any rent to own, because it's surprising to me, because it's a sweet spot.
Well, so, and not just rent to own, but because like all of this should be done always, no matter what. That's just like, that's like our basic, like, you know, what we owe the sellers or whatever. But I think, because I always like let Ben do most of that stuff. I usually prep the house and stage it and get it ready or whatever, and then because I feel like if I'm going to be spending that much energy, I'm not going to be like licking agents' balls. I'll be licking the buyer's balls for double the commission. Like if I'm going to spend time reaching out to people, like again, it still has to be done.
Yeah.
But the strategy I like to double end, and it's funny because most of the time you don't double end, but I've groomed so many buyers from this conversation that I don't care if it's this house or another one. It's an activity with the buyers. So So I would do, I'm saying very, very vague marketing words because I'd have Ben just run whatever, but I would call through any recent like rent to own people or people that came in on a buyer's campaign, anybody that remotely in that area, and
Right, but that existing pipeline.
yeah.
You're 100% right.
And I've been doing
But-
that.
but-
I've been going
but
every week I'll go back through the people that like
Yeah.
conversation.
But so
And
now we
that's-
have to
but
expand
we're-
it out.
but-
We have to look at all the leads in the system that
Yeah.
are assigned to Jamie, that are assigned to Kim, that
But
are
I-
assigned to me. We have to look at anybody that's in that price range, in that area.
But also it has to be like, and we really should do split testing. Like maybe I should just do like chunks of 100 or whatever and split test them on like the automatic messages or something, because it should be something like the ad should be something close to like, or nervous about the market, don't decide now, or something like that, where it's the FHA assumable mortgage,
Yeah.
like lock in a loan now, decide if you want it later, and then the rent to own, whatever. And then also, I think like I've only had a handful of conversations with people that think they might be ready to buy, but every one of them was like, I don't know. I just think having those conversations and educating people on like real life is. Don't you feel like when you talk to people, like everyone just assumes everything and they just take it as fact and they don't really know anything, like whether it's about buying or renting or.
talk to people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and let me tell you, this is. Let's see if I don't know how much room's left on this thing. It's still going. All right, I'm gonna take the seller stuff off here, because one thing you have to look at, and this is a little selfish, like blanket comment there, but part of the whole point, yeah, the number one goal here is to sell your uncle's house and to get him his net. That's what we want to do. That's our whole point.
Right.
But for an agent, you have your listing here.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to intercede again. The goal shouldn't be to get them their net. The goal is to get them as much money as possible,
Thank you.
as quickly as
Good
possible.
goal.
Because look, sometimes their net is unrealistic, and sometimes their net is very. We got people 100,000 more than they ever thought they would.
Yeah.
Get them as much money as possible in the easiest, most stress-free way possible.
Yeah. So we
Checking
always.
as many of their boxes as possible.
I'm glad Kim said that, because she's right. The goal is, it's never the highest offer, it's the best possible offer for them.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's not always their net, and sometimes it's more or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think that because, and we run into this every single time, that there's been a huge explosion at like every like point of the sales and like with different people, and every single time it's been communication. Like we're not clear or whatever. So like even implementing like printing out the things and bringing like actually driving over with the comps and stuff like
Yeah.
that is such a
Nope, I agree
big
with
deal.
that. So-
It avoids a lot of this stuff.
When you look at a listing, a lot of what we're doing right now, and a lot of what most people do, is they're saying this listing equals a commission. And I'm sure that's not spelled right. I never spelled commission right. This listing equals a commission. Everything you're doing is trying to get that. But what we should be doing is that this listing also brings you rent to own leads, buyer leads. That's what your open house is for. Seller leads from new listings, from circle prospecting and having yard signs. So,
And sorry, I mean that in there too. Like I'm doing it in red. What? Oh man.
and new leads from social media, because we're promoting it and people are seeing you working.
Here's the thing. Even if you never sell it, you drop money, whatever, like the one thing that will keep you a realtor forever, that will pay you forever, time and all eternity, if you do it the right fucking way, is referrals. Friends, families, how you do, like how you perform there. Even I've had people where we haven't sold their house, or they went with someone else because the lender was giving them, or the builder was giving them a deal or whatever, and they still refer people to us. Like if you do a good job and you always do, like are clear with communication and whatever, like that will feed you forever.
100%. And all this is just This
Yeah.
is more opportunity.
Yes.
So we have to go into it saying we're going to help the seller net as much as possible. We're going to get the best possible deal for them, but it's also set up to leverage us to do more business and keep rolling. Okay. And I put that up because all the stuff that we're doing,
Yes.
that's why it has to be done systematically and the right way, because if we do these things, we are going to sell it for them, and in the meantime we're also going to pick up all these other things. Okay, like running your FHA assumable, well, that's going to pick up these rent-to-own leads that are then going to go buy with you and may have to sell with you too. Doing the circle prospecting, and the circle prospecting is tough because not everybody likes doing door knocks. Like, I don't like doing them, but knocking on a stranger's door and saying, if you're thinking of selling, sell with me, people are just going to shut the door in your face. But when you walk around and you say, hey, I'm listing my uncle's house, he's building a new one, do you know anybody that's looking to move in this area? A lot different. You can hand them a flyer and say, if you do, here's my information. Totally different. And now you're getting their contact, you're getting FaceTime with them, and they're seeing you actually go out and work. Well,
For your client,
where they'll
pound the
think,
pavement for your person.
yeah, they'll think, when we
Yeah.
sold our last house, what did our agent do?
We didn't even see
And
it.
that's what people want to see, is
Yeah.
that you're out hustling and you're doing everything possible. And then you want to be able to take all this back to the seller and say, hey, look, I know that we're not there yet. I understand you're getting frustrated. Like, we want to identify that with, but say, you know what? Last week I knocked on 50 doors. I handed out 50 flyers. I held 2 open houses. Here's the stuff we're getting back. I ran these ads. This is the response we're getting. Like, you want to be able to show them, here's all the things
Yeah.
I've done. Because
And that-
Kim's right. At some point, they're going to say, maybe the price is right. We have the wrong person. And we want to avoid that.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
And that's why, like, showing the actions and like this is what's happening everywhere and here's why, nobody's gonna be with you.
So they're pretty, because my grandparents just sold their house, and
With-
it took like 4 months.
Oh
so they're-
no, the one that was with you.
So they're under contract now?
Yeah, they are. So they're like,
Oh, good. Okay,
because of
they're
that, they're not in
prepped.
like a
Good.
huge rush
Oh.
or anything. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay,
put,
so they're
I'm gonna put
expecting
that
it to
on
take
our.
longer. Oh, good. Okay,
yeah,
that's awesome.
and I brought that up at the
Good.
beginning. I said on average it's probably about 2 months to sell a house.
Dude, that is so.
That's good.
No, really.
I'm gonna put that in here with our justify with action, the weekly updates. We're gonna do market proof.
So,
I was gonna
Campbell,
say,
I will tell you-
set them up like, yeah, with the right expectations. That's gonna take a little bit.
Okay, good.
I will tell you, that's my favorite thing about you as a salesperson. It's a very, very natural. Ben has it too, where I feel like a lot of salespeople get so eager and so excited they fucking oversell. Oh, the asshole that listed the Womack's house listed at $679.
Yeah. we've
Like, I
been-
mean, just so arrogant, and the pictures. Oh, you saw it, right?
Yeah.
Apple, like whatever, and like,
Not great, yeah.
and that's where it's like undersell, over deliver. And you've always been. I mean, even when you come to the furniture store and like, you know what I mean? Like you're very, but really you're clear to the point. You explain, you're good, but like realistic expectations. Because I guarantee you, a 1,000 other sellers that listed around that same time are losing their shit with their agents. Oh yeah, we'll throw it up there.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
No, and I think we're going to go into it. So you set the right mindset for the sellers. So we're going to go into with the right mindset for us and for you. We are really going to have to watch what we're putting into the advertising, because I think what you have to look at is if we can't bridge that gap, even if we show them an offer and that net is close to it or it's below, there's a possibility that we may have to reduce commission on our side, and you may only make a $500 commission. But if we get it sold and we pick up all these other things, it's worth it.
Right.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't reduce ads or whatever. I'd watch the volume. But if I was like the open house, right? If I had 8 people there and no one was interested, awesome. I'm thrilled. I would do an open house the next day for 8 more people. Do you know what I mean? Because if we still need to just work on grooming the other people, but still a win. I told you that, right? For like 2 years, I listed Nate Johnson's houses for free. Like it was literally a break even.
No. Well, and that's the thing.
We probably ended up spending about $1,000 on each of them. but-
It only works if you've got everything in plan to capture all the stuff in the
The
follow-up,
ads,
which
yeah.
we'll put together. So I know this seems super messy now, but I have a clear view of what we need to do.
Well, you need to look, but do you, this
It
step
starts.
is
It starts here.
Okay, good, yeah.
We're gonna do the comp analysis first.
Okay.
So we're gonna take this as the most important priority, number one,
Yep.
and then we're going to do this follow-up here. That's gonna be yours, and Kim's gonna put that action plan together. So this is 1, 2, and then we're going to look at these as 3. We're gonna start doing these open houses, and then number 4 is I'm gonna bump the ads up today.
Yeah.
Okay, and then as we're going, then we'll do the weekly updates. We'll go through the existing pipeline.
Yeah.
We'll share the market proof.
And then will you get with me on ads? Because there are a couple I want just to just work. Yeah.
Bump ads, B and K. Hey, so if you guys are still watching this video and you've gone through, you've seen the thought process. I mean, Kim and I have sold hundreds of homes, and so it's really looking at, it's just a matter of how you position the property. And if there's not something physically wrong with the house, like if it's not backing train tracks, or it's right in a flight path, or it's in a high crime neighborhood, there's no reason it shouldn't sell if we get to the right price point. So what our agent's running into is a little bit of challenge because the seller has set a very high net recovery amount that they, I'm saying that wrong, but what they want to net has been set very high, so we don't have a ton of room to work with. So we're going to do everything we can to promote this listing to get them the best offer possible. Even if it means their net goes down a little bit, we'll let them make the decision to say, no, that's too low and I don't want to do it. And in the meantime, we're going to use this listing to generate more business for our agent and to give them more experience and more exposure on social media and in the neighborhood as a realtor that's going to just build to more business. Look guys, you know that we're an EXP team. We want people to join our team. We want to sponsor because we'll give you stuff like this.
Yeah.
If you are not getting that at your brokerage, whether you join us or not, you need to find a broker or a team leader or a mentor that can break down the frustrations you're having and give you a path not based on the last 6 months they've been in the market, because the agents have been in the market for 6 months. You discount what they say because anybody could sell a house. You want to look at someone like Kim and I did the other day. It's been 7 years now. You want somebody who has been through different markets to see how to actually do this and have had experience with actual homes. So ideally we'd like you to join us, but if not, you have to find somebody that you connect with that has strategies that work for you. Thank you for watching. We want to know your comments, what you're thinking, what you're doing right now in this market to promote your listings and to make them stand out when, unfortunately, the competition for listing agents is incredibly fierce. So let us know what you're doing. Like, subscribe, all that good shit, and that's it. You ever notice I just ramble at the end of the videos? I'm like the guy that walks you out to the door and is like, so, see you later.
It could be worse.
Been good to see
Secret's
you.
out. Boom.
Seacrest. Thanks, guys.